The Philippines wins out over the Dominican Republic for me with the fact that English is so prevalent and easy to speak.
Okay.
It's so much easier to have a conversation. I feel like, unlike a lot of expats, I don't feel like my only function is to be an ATM. There are times, but
Sure.
if you're not doing something right, and you're, even if you think you're being very sneaky about it, staff will know about it, and if you screw up at some point, they will let the proper authorities know, and you will get the.
How's it going, guys? I have my new friend Sterling here today. He's going to talk about life as a gypsy. Well, not exactly. Let's talk to him. Sterling, great to have you here.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me. What can I tell you about?
All kinds of stuff. Well, first, I'd just love to hear a little bit of your background. Tell me where you're from, where you've spent the last few years here.
Well, I'm originally. I grew up in a military family, so I'm from everywhere.
Okay.
I've lived.
Where were you born?
I was born in North Carolina. My maternal grandmother was in the Carolinas.
Okay.
So my dad was a helicopter pilot in the Marine Corps, and so every time he'd go overseas, my mom would run back home. So off and on, I'd go back to North Carolina. So North Carolina is kind of home base for me. When I got older, I joined the military myself and bounced around. And then after engineering school and some other things, I ended up moving to Seattle.
Okay.
And I lived the last 22, 23 years I lived in Seattle. After my wife passed, I moved. We had built an estate in the Dominican Republic, so I went and tucked tail and felt sorry for myself for a couple of years in the Dominican Republic, and did my mourning.
Yeah.
A few years later, and then I end up in the Philippines.
All right, very interesting. So you really have lived a lot of places. It sounds like, growing up with your dad in the military, you spending time in the military,
right.
Travel and, learning other cultures, meeting people from different places has been a huge part of your background.
Yes, it has.
Yeah. So tell me, with the Dominican Republic, why first did you wind up there?
My late wife and I, she was battling cancer, and we'd gotten tired of Seattle after all these years. The kids were the last of our children. Our youngest daughter was getting ready to graduate high school, and we were both in a position where I said, why stay here? So we were looking to go somewhere south, and we looked at Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Belize, the whole, we were all up and down. And because she was battling cancer, the Dominican Republic checked a lot of boxes for us. Stable government, very stable government, decent health care. We were, honestly, she could be back in Miami or in Texas to a medical facility if she needed within, 6 hours.
Sure.
So it was just convenient, the convenience more than anything else.
I understand. And how long did you live there total?
I was there 5 years.
Okay, so that's a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Now, you've been here in the Philippines for how long?
18 months.
19
months.
Okay. Now, interestingly, for you, 18 months, I mean, you own a business over here. I mean, it seems like you really made a lot of connections. I want to talk about your life here in the Philippines, but let's back up a bit. I'm really curious to hear, what did you think of the Dominican Republic?
I loved it. It was just a little bit. I find the Philippines and Dominican Republic amazing. The infrastructure is a lot alike. The people are very similar. Hell, even both countries use pesos, and the exchange rates almost to the penny the same. It's awkwardly easy to make the transition. The Philippines wins out over the Dominican Republic in a couple of things. One is the number of islands. Instead of just one island, I have 700 or whatever it is.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Of course, some of them at high tide are not islands; they're just a reef. but
Right, that's true.
but
It counts, right?
It counts. But the Philippines wins out over the Dominican Republic for me, with the fact that English is so prevalent and easy to speak.
Okay.
It's so much easier to have a conversation. My Spanish was very bad, and it didn't seem to be progressing in the right direction.
Sure.
So, and I think that's why I was able to make the transition once I got here so quickly. It's because I did have English to fall back on. Although, because the cultures are very similar, they're very faith-based. Mm-hmm. There's, the church is a big thing.
Yep.
In both cultures, the family's a big thing. It was just kind of it was almost like a little twitch in the road just to realign yourself. And all of a sudden, I fell right in line with the Philippines, including some of the things they do that you go when you first move overseas, you go, why?
Sure. At least you had some preparation from DR with that.
Yeah, I mean, DR and Philippine timekeeping is about the same,
which is to say non-existent.
Mañana.
Right, exactly.
Tomorrow, maybe.
Yes, yeah.
God willing.
Yes, it's always funny to me, in the U.S., if, you go to a counter and you need someone to help you, they'll say, just a second or just a minute. But here they say, for a while. Yeah. What does that even mean? Is that 5 minutes? Is that next week? What's for a while?
You're going to be sitting for a while waiting.
Yeah, I think you found the right explanation there.
Yeah, I had a friend that told me, I think I'll move. I'm thinking about moving. He was actually talking about moving to the Dominican Republic, and I said, don't do it. And he goes, why? And he goes, you would be miserable. And he goes, well, why would I be? Because he's one of those type A personalities. Is like it's got to be regimented and on time and blah 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 blah.
Sure.
And I said, if you can't roll with it, if you can't just release it and sit back and say,
you might be better off in Germany.
Exactly.
Sure. So I think that's great, advice for expats watching when they're thinking like, do I want to go over there, be like Sterling, live in the Philippines? It's not made for everybody.
No.
And, for me, this is home. I do love it here. Even the things that drive me crazy, I still love it here. Even when I want to pull out the hair I don't have left out of my head, I still love it here. But not every country is for, every
No, you got to pack your patience. I mean, it's just like, later today, I have to go to the bank. I'm going to go make a deposit. Just a simple deposit.
Yeah.
And if I don't, if I plan to get in and out in less than an hour, not going to happen.
Yeah.
You want to do something more complex than just make a deposit? Take your patience and a book.
Exactly. I mean, I think any line here for me, I always notice going to the grocery market. Yeah. I'm just seeing the checker. Beep. Beep. Hey, what'd you do last night? Beep. It's like really, you just.
Yeah, it's all 16-bit analog, right?
Yeah. Very, very different here. But what about you? I mean, what do you think of the Philippines a year and a half in?
I love it. It's the people are. I've got a woman who I care about deeply, and her family has taken me under wing, and I don't feel like I'm necessarily I feel like unlike a lot of expats, I don't feel like my only function is to be an ATM. So there are times.
Sure. And somewhat to the contrary. I mean, your partner, helps you run your business.
Yes.
Tell us a bit more about your business and how you and your partner work together.
Well, I own a sports bar here in Cebu City called Billy's Sports Bar. I'm one of the premier sports bars here in town. I have a very diverse clientele, expats, Filipinos, tourists. I have, on any given night, I could have, Koreans and Japanese and Russians and Ukrainians and Filipinos and, the list goes on. I really am a sports bar. I kind of modeled myself on almost like a Hooters. I have pub grub and cold beer and lots of TVs and lots of sports channels to choose from. And we open from noon. Right now our hours are from noon till 5 a.m. So we try to, cater to everybody.
Yeah.
I have several pool tables and beer pong and dartboards and, just a corner neighborhood. I wanted a neighborhood pub but I have my partner, who was my girlfriend before she became, involved in the company, is my general manager, and she's Filipino, and, I have been actually relegated to owner status in this, okay, boss, just sit over there, glad hand people, chat them up, and don't dare touch my cash register.
Which speaks so well of your, partner. I could already hear people, watching saying, what is Sterling thinking? He has this Filipina, partner involved helping him run his business. And, I think in any country, not everybody is going to be able to run a business like that. But, both of us have experienced Filipinas over here that are just, very hardworking, competent, able to really help run things. I mean, how do you think your life would be different if you didn't have your partner involved in
it's who knows. I have a more than sneaking suspicion that I would have probably locked the doors and walked away by now.
Sure.
I mean, but she, and luckily for me, she not only was, when I met her, she was working, she's as a supervisor in a call center. But so she has the supervisory experience and the HR experience, but her degree was in hospitality. So she's got a hospitality background as well. So it was just, I couldn't have gone out and I could not have put an ad in the newspaper and said, gotten a better candidate for her than her.
Yeah.
And in fact that she's, very cute and personable. Doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt, right?
Doesn't, eye candy's eye candy.
I get it. So I have another channel, so my California Expat channel, I have another channel called American Entrepreneur in the Philippines. And often people will say comments like, what are you thinking, starting a business in the Philippines? And half of me says, what am I thinking running business in the Philippines? But the other half of me thinks, I love running a business in the Philippines. I'm kind of curious, for you at this stage, where are you at?
I started it more I wanted a little bit better return on my money than just sitting around, and I know me, and if I have too much money sitting in a bank account, I'll do something stupid.
Sure.
Other than buying a bar. But the bar holds steady. It pays for itself, and I augment my income. I mean, it's not losing money, and sometimes not so much now because Fiona's really taken over running it day to day. But but when I was more involved, I look and go, that was 80 hours. I really I should have gotten more than 500 pesos an hour.
Sure.
But, it now it pays for itself. That right there is a win.
Yeah.
And then and it does more than that. I make a few dollars every month, and it keeps me from having to dip into savings, and so it's a win-win.
Paying the bills. I get it. So, for those watching that are thinking, I'm living in my country, I'd love to move, to the Philippines, what would you tell them? Because it's a little bit risky here sometimes too, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, do your due diligence. due diligence. Get an attorney, get an attorney's opinion, then get another attorney to give you their opinion with the attorney's opinion. Right?
Yeah.
To always double source it, especially if you're taking a significant amount of money. The other thing is it's don't try to cheap Charlie it. Don't try to, as you know, the laws are very strict, and especially if you're an expat and they think you're trying to get away with something, don't try it. You'll get away with it. You will get away with it for a little while, but when it catches up with you, you're going to lose everything.
Yeah.
If you don't, above board.
Yeah. Always follow the law over here.
To the letter and plus if you can.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think we both found over here, even though it feels like a lot of things may not be organized here, even though the lines at the bank may take hours, when it comes to Department of Labor law, when it comes to how you run a business, everything is right on schedule and monitored.
It is. And and remember, you're already not trying to dissuade anybody, but remember, you're a guest in this country, right? And that's whether it's Dominican Republic or it's Germany or France or wherever you go. If you're not a citizen there, you're a guest, and you're doing business as a guest, and through their graciousness. No matter how hard you work, you're still doing so. And remember, if you screw up, if you manage to make a staff, if you're not doing something right, and you're, even if you think you're being very sneaky about staff will know about it. And if you screw up at some point, they will let the proper authorities know, and you will get the knock on the door.
Yeah, they're not shy to go to Dole over here. That's for sure.
Yeah. Dole or Department BIR, the Bureau of Internal Revenue. I mean, especially my thing. I have liquor licenses, and I have, I have the city, the barangay, the list of organizations that you have to deal with it's just mind-boggling.
Absolutely.
Which is why Fiona's very, very good at what she does.
Yeah, so important. And especially having someone that really just understands the culture, can speak the local language. Those type of things are invaluable.
It's, yes, English is very prevalent, and English in business is extremely prevalent.
Yeah.
But when you have something going on, sometimes I just have to sit in the background, and especially when, Fiona's on a tear, and I'm sitting back and they're going in off in Visaya, and it's
yes. Yeah. Just stay in a dark corner and let it happen.
I'm waiting for the machetes to come out.
Yes, no, I know what you mean. So I think even if almost everybody here speaks English really well, when it really comes to a deep or serious matter, people really want to speak their own language over here. So,
especially when emotions flare.
Absolutely.
If you decide to come out, don't be afraid to try the business out. I mean, this is a great country and a great opportunity, great people to work with. So, don't gamble with more than you can afford to lose. But if you can afford to invest and play, by all means, go for it. It's a wonderful. The benefits you'll reap from it are beyond what I can communicate.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Well, Sterling, it's been so great to hear some of your life experience, including over here in the Philippines. Really appreciate you making time to be on the channel. Well, guys, I'm sure you've enjoyed hearing Sterling's story over here. Appreciate you guys, as always, taking the time to watch. Take care.
Bye.